guys, Laura here, mom of two and founder of The Lavish Method, where I teach women who just want to lose weight a simple way of eating that doesn't involve cutting out wine, chocolate, or any of the things that make life worth living. And today I'm here to talk to you about one of my favorite things, which is high-fat diets for fat loss. I know. It sounds counterintuitive, like I want to lose fat, not gain fat, so I'm not going to eat fat, right? Well, no. Actually, that's totally wrong. And so if you still believe that eating fat is going to make you fat, I'm going to leave you with this saying because I find it really helps. If you still believe that eating fat is going to make you fat, that's like believing that eating green vegetables are going to make you turn green. You know that's crazy talk, right? Like, you know you're not going to turn green if you eat broccoli. Same thing. You're not going to magically get fat if you eat fat. That's not the way our body works. Cool? Cool. Now, if you know me, you know fat is my jam. I love talking about fat. I love teaching you how to incorporate healthy fat back into your diet to finally lose weight in a way that makes sense and feels good and is sustainable. So I'm going to break down the top 3 reasons why I love high fat, moderate protein, low carb diets for fat loss in women who are having a hard time losing weight and just want something that's going to work and be easy. Okay? Okay. So number 1, the first reason is blood sugar. So high fat diets are amazing for steady, stable blood sugar. And I truly believe that steady, stable blood sugar is the holy grail for fat loss for a couple of different reasons. Number 1, okay, when our blood sugar is all over the map, like up and down and roller coastering all over the place, like it is generally with a high carb diet in a person who is not an athlete, what happens is the hormones that are flowing through your body most of the time are the hormones that favor fat storage, not fat release. So even though you may be eating, next to nothing, it's still really hard to lose fat because those hormones are telling you to store fat, not to release fat. Right? So that's very, very important to note. The other thing when it comes to steady, stable blood sugar, and we're going to get to this in the 3rd category, but steady, stable blood sugar leads to a more even keel in terms of hunger, in terms of craving. So we're going to get there. But steady, stable blood sugar is basically like the base, the key to everything else that goes right when we eat high-fat diet. So the second reason I love high-fat diets is that they give us really usable energy that lasts a very long time and is really handy for today's world. So one of the big things people come to me when they're trying to lose weight, or they're trying a new diet and they've upped their fruits and vegetables and cut everything, blah, 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 whatever. It's really hard to eat that often. So some of the advice out there and some of the prevailing advice out there is that you should be eating every 2 or 3 hours for fat loss to help you lose weight. And sorry, but sometimes that's not doable. Like, we're all busy. I'm busy. I'm sure you're busy, like whether it's working in the home, outside of the home, raising kids, taking care of parents, shuttling people places. Like, we're busy. You don't have time to cook and pack things to eat every 2 hours for your whole day. So let's get real. Fat is amazing for keeping you feeling full for a very long time and keeping your blood sugar stable for a very long time. So what happens is fat digests the slowest of all the macronutrients, which is amazing. So when you eat a meal high in fat, it takes like 3, 4, 5 hours to really digest. So you feel full and satisfied for that whole time because as it's digesting, it's like slowly just like shooting out bits of usable energy. Your body's able to take them and use them. It's not throwing your blood sugar out of whack, so you're not sitting there in fat storage mode. You're actually more likely to be in fat burning mode. And you're not hungry. So that leads me to my 3rd reason that I love high-fat diets, and that is hunger and cravings. And it ties into the last 2, but I feel like it's worthwhile to talk about it on its own because it's so important. One of the number 1 reasons people can't keep up a diet, people can't, sustain something is because they're freaking hungry and they're craving foods that they're not supposed to be having. And that's because they're not eating enough and their blood sugar is low and all out of whack. So what fat does for you is, like we've learned before, it helps stabilize your blood sugar, right? And it helps keep you feeling fuller longer so you're not starving all the time. I want to run through 2 scenarios for you that kind of put this all together and give you kind of the keys, I think, to understanding it, okay? So scenario 1, let's say you go out for dinner and it's an Italian restaurant and everything looks like it's smothered in like cheese and fat and oils and oh my God, it's like gonna kill your diet. So you order like pasta primavera. So just like plain pasta with just some vegetables in there, right? So it's probably the healthiest choice on the menu. So let's say you do that. So that is a dinner that's primarily carbohydrates. Vegetables are carbohydrates, pasta is carbohydrates, like it's all carbs. So carbohydrates digest insanely quickly, like half an hour to an hour for simple carbs like that, okay? So say you eat that and those carbohydrates digest really fast in your system. So as they digest really quickly, they send all the energy that they contained out into your blood. And they send it out there at basically the same time because it digested so quickly, that's just what happened. So now all that sugar is in your blood and your body says, oh, I gotta send something in to deal with that. So it sends insulin to take the sugar from your blood and deliver it to the working muscles. Except there's a ton of sugar in your blood right now. So the insulin comes in, delivers all this sugar out to your body, and you're sitting in the couch on a food coma, so you don't need the energy, right? Your muscles aren't really working. So insulin does what insulin does best and stores that extra energy as fat to be used later. Okay, so that's scenario 1. Oh, and now because all that energy was pushed into the blood at once, and the blood and the insulin came to the blood and took out all the energy, now your blood doesn't have enough energy. So now your body is super resourceful. Your body is crazy adaptive. And so your body is going to do what it can do best to get your blood sugar back up quickly, which is to crave carbohydrates, because carbohydrates digest so fast, they're the best way to get an increase in blood sugar, right? So this is the root of a lot of our carb cravings, like potato chips or ice cream or chocolate cake or whatever. That's the physiological side of where it's coming from, which is super cool to know. So scenario 2, say you go to that same restaurant and instead of ordering the pasta primavera, you're like, you know what, I'm gonna have a steak, like I'm gonna have a really good steak, good quality steak with some double-sided vegetables with butter, and you know, maybe a little glass of wine. That's what I'm gonna have. So now that meal is full of fat in the form of the butter or the oil on the vegetables. There's gonna be fat in the meat. It's full of protein in your meat as well. And what that means is that you're gonna have slower digestion, right? So instead of all that energy just being pushed right out into the system at once, what's happening now is that as the food is slowly digesting, you're getting bits of energy fed out into the system. And then you only need little bits of insulin to come and deal with that. And then as it's being dealt with, some more energy is being pushed out. And it's basically very steady. So your blood sugar is very steady and very stable. And so what that means is, A, your muscles are more likely to be able to use the energy that's being pushed out into your system, right? Because it's only little bits at a time, and that's cool. And B, your blood sugar is not gonna have that rebound low effect. So you're not gonna crave the sugar, the dessert later on. So which of those 2 scenarios, if you think about that, scenario 1, scenario 2, which of those 2 scenarios is gonna be more conducive to fat loss? I hope you said scenario number 2, since that's what this video is all about. So that's some food for thought for you on high fat, moderate protein, and low carb diets. Like I said, love them. They're not necessarily for everyone though. So if you have questions, do me a favor and shoot me a message or leave it in the comment box. Now, that's basically what I've got for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know your time is crazy valuable, and I love every minute we get to hang out via video. If you love me, you love what I'm about, and you want more, you can do a couple of things. If you haven't already, you probably should download my brand new starter guide for women who just want to lose weight. It's totally free. It's got all the foods you should be loving, the foods you should ditch, and anything else I think you need to know to get started on my way of eating, which is an amazing way of eating. You can find that at www.lavishnutrition.com. It's right there. Just click on the link and you'll get your very own copy. The other thing you can do is hit subscribe right down below there. There's a subscribe button, so hit subscribe, and that way you'll be notified every time I put out new content. So you can, get into YouTube, you can watch it, you can hopefully implement some great tips and suggestions. You can leave me comments, you can ask your questions. So definitely hit subscribe. That's all I've got for you today. If you have anything you want me to cover on future videos, please let me know by leaving me a message on my website or by leaving something in the comments. Thanks, guys. I'll talk to you guys real soon. Bye.